This episode is a work of fiction intended for mature audiences only. It contains disturbing themes including voyeurism, exploitation, abuse of control, and sexualized situations. Listener discretion is strongly advised. All characters and events are fictional, and the behaviors depicted are not endorsed. Imagine there's a woman. For example, we'll just call her Jane, but you're free to call her whatever you want. Jane lives in an ordinary-looking house in a little suburb somewhere about 10 miles due south of Bakersfield. She's only recently moved into the house, 6 months ago, give or take. We don't know why she's moved here, all by herself. Divorce? Moved for a job? The truth doesn't matter. It's your choice to imagine whatever you want for her after all. Let's say that Jane is about 5'2", light brown hair, green eyes, and is a mix of white and East Asian. She's not in the best shape, but she's also not so unhealthy that it's a cause for concern. Maybe she orders takeout one too many times during the week. Maybe it's because she stopped doing her evening runs in lieu of the guilty pleasure of watching trashy movies. This isn't to say she doesn't care of herself, of course. Jane has a treadmill in a spare room off of her bedroom, and she uses it with somewhat strict regularity. Every morning, she swallows a handful of vitamins with a glass of alkalized water before she goes to work. With this information, you could probably build a rough idea of her body type. Firm, but with a little fat around the midsection. Maybe a bit of extra weight around the hips and stomach, but nothing that most men couldn't overlook. Again, we're only using this as an example. Other models in our service differ drastically in race and age, and we strive to ensure a healthy diversity in our product line. But I'll get into that a little later. Now, every morning, Jane wakes up at approximately 7:30 a.m. Sometimes it's as late as 7:45 or as early as 7:15, but it's almost always around that time. Because we like to keep our models on a certain schedule, we always aim to keep their start of day consistent, you see. It's easier when our models have a day job or a family that helps to let us build their routine. For others, we have discrete alarms in place to wake them up at a more precise time. Usually it's something like dripping water or a car horn, something that's loud enough to wake them, but not so unusual they might try to investigate. Anyways, let's say that our Jane is up by 7:30 a.m. every day. She lays in bed for a couple of minutes, checking her phone, stretching her legs, the usual things women do before they face the day. She's a bit of a slow starter, so if you wanted to skip past it, you could save yourself some money. But there are some viewers who enjoy watching our models wake up, a kind of shared morning ritual between them, you could say. After lounging in bed for a bit, let's give Jane two options. Her first option would be, provided it's a weekday, to get a shower. Her second option, if it's a weekend, is to get changed into more comfortable clothes. Now, we're both adults here, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you there's a certain attraction to either of these options. For the sake of our example, let's say that she decides on a Saturday morning to take a shower to start the day. Jane gets in the shower at around 8 a.m. She'll undress, toss her clothes in the wicker laundry basket beside the linen closet, and then step into the shower. Because of the popularity of this part of the stream, again, for obvious reasons, we've taken many steps to ensure that it is maximally enjoyable for our viewers. First and foremost, we've used only the finest waterproof cameras we can find. The I Spy brand of discrete recording technology we found to be the best in both efficiency and longevity for a fairly low price point. One camera is mounted into the shower head itself, while another is in a decorative wall sign facing the shower door. This allows for both a more explicit and a coyer viewing preference respectively. There's a third camera, but that's only on the premium subscription. It's a pretty unusual spot, let's just say, but if you're into that sort of thing, it's well worth it. Once we settle up with all this here, we'll be able to discuss subscription tiers and work out a payment plan. Second, we always leave a gift of bath and body items as a housewarming gift when the model moves in. We take a poll from our viewers as to what they'd like to see our models wash with. Things that make her skin look shinier, body oils, fancy gels, and shampoos. We want the models to look their best for our viewers at all times. Unless you're into the more haggard, frumpy kind, that is. Third, and this is just a little souvenir for our viewers, I guess you could say we actually save the footage of her in the shower or in the tub. For a small additional fee, we edit the footage, clean it up a bit, maybe do a little Photoshop on the body and face. You like the footage of, say, Jane getting a shower at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, September 15th, but you didn't like how you couldn't see her breasts through the steam? We'll take that footage, edit the steam out, make her breasts a little bigger, and then send it back to you. Our team is great at what they do. Sometimes we sell footage of various models in bulk packages, usually for special occasions. Back to Jane. You watch her get in the shower. She suds her body up, lathers all over, the whole 9 yards. This lasts anywhere from, about 30 or 40 minutes. When she's done, she'll get dressed or, walk around naked. We have quite a few models who are into that sort of thing. She could go into the kitchen to make breakfast, take a phone call in the living room, or do yoga in her bedroom. No matter what room in the house she goes into, you'll be able not only to see her, but also hear her, clear as a goddamn bell. See, we design our homes very, particularly, if that's the right word for it. In the old days, way before the internet was even something most people ever heard of, the industry used to get by the old-fashioned way, sitting outside windows at night, camcorders in hand as they tried to peek through curtains or from the side of cars parked alongside busy streets. It worked, don't get me wrong, but when the tools of the trade improve, well, so do your standards. Some sap's amateur footage of a lady undressing might have worked in the 70s, 80s, hell, even the 90s if it was decently shot. But today, the average viewer wants high definition, full sound, nothing uncensored. It's not enough to settle for backyard peeping Tom shots or footage of girls in bikini sunbathing at a crowded beach. The market demands better, and so we answered. In every room of our specially designed deluxe houses, there is a minimum of 2 indiscreet cameras rolling every hour, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Full high-def vision from every angle. In the kitchen, living room, and bedroom. We also install microphones to pick up on conversations, noises, intimacy, etc. You wouldn't believe it, but many of our viewers don't want to just look at our models. They boot up any other site on the web, normal or dark, and watch a woman dancing out naked for literally pennies. They want realism, not just some dopey, airheaded broad doing it for a quick fix. The modern viewer can tell whether it's being faked and, for the price they pay, it feels like an insult to the art. If Jane's having a conversation with her father about getting birthday gifts for her mother, they want to hear it. If she had a long day at work and she needs a stress cry, or whatever women do on the couch, it's going to be picked up. And when she brought that guy home from the bar after a couple drinks, brother, we had so many viewers coming in, we had to start limiting access, or they'd overload the damn service. Our viewers want real emotion, genuine, honest-to-God feeling, real tears, real laughter, real moans of pleasure, and real cursing. They want to know this woman inside, outside, and from so many angles they could tell the shape of her head to the curves on her ass. That's what we at Dollhouse offer. Genuineness, pure, uncut, and raw. And we like to think we ought to be damn proud of that. But we don't just stop at cameras, microphones, and little alarms. No, Dollhouse Live Services isn't the type of site to set up a couple cameras and call it a day. We've been in the business for 20 years, and we didn't get here by sitting on our asses. For an extra fee, we can go one step further. All right, I'll be straight with you right out of the gate. The fee is a little bit steeper than what we usually would charge for basic services, even for the premium services. But, provided you want a more interactive experience, the price is well worth it considering the manpower and reward involved. Let's say that Jane has to go out for a bit, maybe shopping, seeing her family, whatever. Wherever she's going, it means that her house is going to be completely empty. For viewers on the normal subscription track, this is kind of like a commercial. We try to entice them to stay watching for as long as possible. But there's only so much you can do when the model isn't there. But if you were part of our deluxe package, then things are different. Once it's confirmed she leaves the property via the outdoor garage camera, we send our guys into the house. They each have keys for every lock: front door, back door, garage door, cellar door. So it's easy for them to get in without having to break in. We'd try it with smart locks, but with all the stories of people being able to hack into them, they're more likely to draw more suspicion than not. Ordinary keys are less expensive, more secure, and whoever's nearby would just assume the guys going in are family members or friends. Once they're in the house, you'd have the option of selecting any possession Jane's touched, worn, or tasted. This includes drinking glasses, half-eaten food, worn underwear or sports bras, you name it. Since we have a good layout of everything in the house, it's easy enough to find out where her stuff is. You see her wearing a pair of black underwear that she takes off when she gets undressed? You can have it. Does she have a favorite water bottle that she drinks from often? That can be yours. We usually auction them off on our forum every Thursday, though you could pay for very specific items yourself. One time we had a guy pay us a couple $1,000 in Bitcoin just so we could take the pillowcase off one of her pillows because it had her hair on it. Our team is so good that in another house, somewhere in Philadelphia I think, they were able to get the bath water when the model was done bathing. They installed a kind of trap over the drain so the water wouldn't go down right away. When she left for work, our guys came in, collected the water, hair, skin, suds, and jarred it to be shipped out. She thought it was just a minor drain problem that took care of itself. Normally, we try to avoid taking things that would be too noticeable. Photos, shoes, jewelry, anything that any normal person might notice would be missing. Jane might notice if, say, her favorite pair of heels went missing, but she won't notice if the used menstrual pads from the trash aren't there. Again, we do this all based on a balance of risk factors versus potential profit. It is possible to have an in-person tour of the model's home while they're on vacation, like you suggest, but that's priced on many different factors. We had an in-person tour of a model's home out in New York about a year or so back. A guy worked out a deal that, when the model would go visit her relatives upstate for a week, he could live in her house for 2 days. This meant full, unrestrained access to all of her personal possessions, eat her food, wear her clothes, get strange with himself in her sheets, you name it. He turned the place into his own personal pigsty, complete with clogging up her toilet and ruining a couple couch cushions. We almost had to beat the poor bastard until he was crippled just to get him to leave. For that viewer, by himself to go there, the cost ran him about 20 grand, give or take his own expenses. It's profitable, sure, but obviously we wouldn't be where we are today if our business model was built around letting people walk into our models' homes unannounced. And of course, there's the matter of leaving evidence behind, which usually takes about a day of meticulous cleaning just to be on the safe side. So that upcharge is also added into the fee. It's a fantastic windfall, but not enough of our viewers have the money to finance it. We're still toying with the idea of a more scaled-back model of it. We've got a rough concept of a kind of shared home experiences, sort of designing a house with a house for our guests to stay in and watch our models. You know, a personal apartment built into the house for the viewer to stay in, like a surveillance suite. It's based off what the hell do kids call it nowadays? Frogging? It's built off that idea, but with a lot more class and sophistication than living inside someone's dirty crawl space. Incredibly expensive concept, though. Our current model's a steady moneymaker and, as they say, why fix what's not broken? Good question. Our service usually focuses primarily on single women aged 18 to 50, from what it says in our introductory guide. But like I said earlier, we do offer various other models too. Men, women, children. We even have a few elderly people somewhere in the inventory. We try to keep as diverse a selection as possible for our viewers. Even if our main market is in women, it never hurts to expand your horizons. Of course, we do have a very extensive vetting process. We do it through the lease agreements we have the models sign, so we can get basic information without seeming too demanding. Jane would have to fill out an application a month or so in advance, where she'd have to answer simple questions. Things like whether or not she'll be living with a roommate, if she's going to have any pets, medical conditions, things like that. If Jane had, for example, a boyfriend, then there would be grounds for disqualification. You know how guys are, trying to fix stuff around the house. One day he tries to fix the light in the living room, finds one of our cameras, and then our whole operation hits a snag. Not to mention, it ruins the immersion for a lot of our viewers. I almost forgot to mention one of the most exclusive perks of being a Dollhouse subscriber. Not only do you get full 24-hour access to all of our models nationwide, but you also get the exclusive privilege of being able to personally decide what happens to one of our models next. While I've stated before that we strive for genuine realism here, what's the fun of having a doll if you can't get her to do the things you want to do occasionally? Let's say that Jane buys a new car, or better yet, she gets a new cat. She gets something that she can use, something she can play with. It's like if you decide to give your doll, or if we want to be a little manly here, action figure, a new accessory for them to play with. Sure, the model might be happy with it then, and everyone gets to tune in to watch her reaction. But after a while, maybe the viewers get bored with this new addition. Maybe she spends all of her time focusing on this new cat or dog or whatever to do the things she normally does. Our viewers tune in religiously to see Jane do the things she does best. Be herself with all the drama and sex appeal women are known for. How can any of that happen when she's too busy fussing over a rescue cat? How do we fix this problem? By letting you, the viewer, get to decide what should happen next. We hold one of those online polls for our premium members, trying to get a feel for what the audience thinks and what they want. Let's say, about 75% of them want the cat gone. They don't care how we do it or what happens to it. They just want the cat out of here. One day, Jane lets the cat out like she normally does. Maybe it doesn't come back. Maybe it gets hit by a car. You could imagine how she'd probably feel about that. She'll cry, she'll curse. Hell, maybe she probably wouldn't care at all. We might get some footage of her sobbing on her couch, and about a day or two later, Janie girl could be over it and back to business as usual. You could apply this to literally any other scenario. New car getting smashed up, someone setting her garden on fire, little things to keep the show exciting. It doesn't really matter how she feels about it at the end of the day. What's important is that our viewers got to make an impact on her life, all with the simple click of a button. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong about wanting to put a little bit of, muscle on someone else's life. We all get that feeling once in a while, right? Everyone talks about how good it is to have control of your own life, and sure, that's as dandy as a fruit on Broadway. But everyone's got responsibilities, don't they? Everyone's got a job, a family to feed and take care of, bills to pay. After a while, you almost feel like you aren't in control anymore, are you? Someone else is setting the rules and forcing you to follow them. There comes a time when you want to be the one in control. Maybe not just your own life, but someone else's. You want to feel that power, that rush whoever's planning your life gets when they make things happen to you. One of our viewers could be some fat SOB living in some filthy apartment somewhere. Or his mother's basement, God forbid. He's got no real job, no friends. Not even his own family wants anything to do with him. You don't think that greasy loner wouldn't want to have the illusion of another life? Or at least just the tiniest little speck of power over someone or something? There's nothing that he wouldn't do just to do something, anything, that would let him control someone the way life controls him. For the ability to have some kind of impact on someone's life, good or bad, there's absolutely no price people wouldn't pay to have that. I've seen people pay almost their entire life savings just to have that power over someone. One guy once spent $10,000 in Bitcoin to have one woman take a vacation in Europe. Another guy, $15,000, just so he could make this one model have to check herself into inpatient care. There's nothing that people won't pay just to be God in someone's life. All-seeing, all-knowing, and all-powerful. Do you remember that big home invasion story that happened in Bakersfield back in July? It was all over the news. The story, or well, I should say the public story, goes that this happy little family came back from a vacation to find their house was trashed. I mean, absolutely wrecked the place top to bottom. Windows all smashed in, furniture thrown out on the lawn, busted some water pipes for good measure. I heard they even went into the kids' bedrooms, took all of their toys, and just ripped them apart. Dolls, those little building block things, stuffed animals, smashed them, burned them, and from what I remember, something to do with bodily fluids. Never caught the guys who did it, and honestly, I don't think they ever will. It was a hell of a lot of money to pull off, and we had to give one of our houses a good beating. But I'll tell you, you couldn't hire the best goddamn actor in Hollywood to pull off the looks on their faces when they walked in the door. The recording of our boys wrecking the place is always good for a laugh. What else is there I should mention? Let's see. That was it. We're actually working on a collaboration with Lovemates, the silicone companion guys, for the upcoming holiday season. Yeah, see? What we're gonna do is send photos of some of our models over to them, like Jane for instance, and they're going to make a limited run of life-size dolls based off them. Hair color, breast size, hips. They even got this rubber plastic stuff that feels like genuine mouth skin. They even found a way to get rid of that uncanny look other real dolls have on them. I'm in no way a sculptor or artist, or whatever the hell you call a guy who builds stuff like that, but I've seen the concept designs, and they're almost near identical to the real thing. Maybe even a little better, since they're not as finicky. I'm actually looking at one based off this cute redhead in New Hampshire, but I got my eye on a dark-skinned woman from Chicago in case the redheads sold out. If you sign up now, you'll not only be eligible to buy your very own custom doll, but you get the 15% off first sign-up discount too. Honestly, that's a hell of a steal right there. And if you decide to upgrade to our premium package right away, that 15% becomes 25% off. It's like we're practically giving it to you for free. All right, so if you have any more questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them now. You look the type who's been around the block with this kind of thing, so I'm sure once you're in, you'll get adjusted pretty quickly. The premium package? Haha, well, I can't say I blame you. The basic package would have been just as fine, but you get more interactivity, and I get a bigger cut of the commission, so we all go home happy. We'll get you all signed up and ready to go right away. We know you have a choice in internet-based live streaming and camgirl services, and we appreciate you choosing Dollhouse for your needs. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the story, be sure to follow or subscribe and share the show with a fellow horror fan. I'll see you in the next one.